Hi, my name is Tonya Morgan. I'm excited to share with you today about the subject of time management. This is something I am passionate about, and I'm so excited to share with you some tips that I've learned. I've been part of the business world for many, many years, and this subject is something that I'm always asked about. How do I get everything done? How do I spend the time with my family I want to, but still get everything done and have a career and build my teams and do everything that's put on me? So I'm excited to share some tips with you today about that to help you manage your time. So my first tip, we're going to jump right in. My first tip that I want to share with you is you have to know, where do I want to go? You need to think about your end result. So I always say begin with the end in mind. So if you're doing your business, if you are wanting to lose weight, let's just keep it simple. You want to look at that and say, okay, where's my end result? Where do I want to be? And that is going to be your goal that you're going to be looking at and always referring back to. So before you start getting all these demands put on you and you're trying to plug it all into your schedule, the first thing you need to stop and just do a personal evaluation and say, where do I want to be? What is my long-term goal? And I like to say, set it big. Make your goals bigger than what you think they can be, because you're going to be surprised how fast and efficient you can be to reach that goal with some tips that we're going to share. So think about it. An easy analogy that I like to share is, and not to be morbid or anything, but just think down the road, like at your funeral. If you really think about who are going to be the people that are going to talk about me, that are going to stand up and say something about me, that's going to reveal to you what's most important to you and who is most important to you. And when you start with that end result, then you can back into this day-to-day life of, this is what's important for me today. So I become that person that I want to be at the end of the road, at the end of my life, at the end of next year. It doesn't have to be all the way at the end of your life. It can be as far on as you want it to be. So let's bring that into the business perspective. If you're working a business, where do I want my business to be in a year from now? And maybe even make it shorter than that. In 6 months from now, where do I want my business to be? Where do I want my family to be? Where do I want my finances to be? Where do I want my weight to be in 6 months? Whatever that is, you fill in the blank. And what's important to you might not be important to me, and that's okay. The whole question is, what's important to you? So you figure that out for yourself and you set that goal. So let's say you want 500 people on your team. Okay, I said big goals. So you say, I want 500 people on my team. Okay, so you set that goal. And right now that might seem, I don't know how I would ever reach that goal. And that's okay. Set the goal. You determine how big. It could be, I want 20 people on my team, and that's okay. Whatever you want it to be, you set that goal and you make it, and you have to, and so that's the first step. Find out what you want your goal to be, and figure that out for yourself. Evaluate your heart. The second step is, okay, now you need to write it down. The most effective way I've ever found to reach one of my goals is write it down. If I don't write it down, I'm going to get distracted by something else that's going to have a more important priority in the moment. So I have to write it down. You have to write down that goal. So even right now, just stop and write down one goal that you want to reach. And it better be big. So challenge yourself. Make it a big goal and write it down. And then when you write it down, you want it to be where you can go back and read it in 1 minute. Okay, so a 1 minute goal is what we call this. You write that down to where in every week, once a week, you can go back and say, in 1 minute, you're going to reread that goal, because you're going to keep that fresh in front of you. This is my goal. This is where I want my business to be in 6 months. This is where I want my life to be 5 years from now, whatever it is. You have to keep that in front of you. So it's important to write it down and always refer to it once a week. Okay, so that's your first goal. That's your first step. That's your first assignment after this first lesson, is just think of your goal. Where do you want it to be? And write it down to where you can go back and reread it within, it's a 1 minute read. So it's not long, it's not 2 or 3 pages of writing out a goal, it's a paragraph or two. So write that down where you can read it in 1 minute. And then we're going